I can feel life
Really tap on the spiritual aspect of it, because we are by far we're born into sin, because of the fall of humanity. We as humans, we think that we all got things figured out. Man decided that we don't want God, we want to do things on our own accord. And we know, even dating back to the beginning of times, and I know since this is the point, and our aim is to point people back to Jesus, and I think it's just apropos that we even bring that up as it relates to gender identity and male and female. Like you said, we were assigned, who assigns? Mm-hmm. It's not man, it's not the doctor that assigns. And that's why, as I alluded to, when I had the baby, my wife had the baby. I didn't have a baby. Lord have mercy. I don't want no baby.
Be careful with how you use it.
Yeah, I know, right? Not me. But the doctor said it's a baby, and how you pointed out, it's anatomy. That's anatomy 101. And when you talk about genetics, the male has the X and Y chromosomes. That's when we get into all the genetics. And as a male matures, right, you could see the structure of a male figure. And even as a female, you can see the structure, and the females have the X and X chromosome as it relates to the female. But it is God who give us our identity, and what man strive to do is dilute that and manipulate it. But I don't think it's more so towards man. It's really the unseen world.
Come on, I was getting there.
Yeah, I know, but it was just inside of me. So when I think about conflict, when I think that things that's not on one accord, I got to think about our adversary. I got to think about how the powers that be, the enemy, is trying to manipulate. I know I'm putting the cart before the horse,
listen,
but it's just inside of me.
Yeah,
and I think the way you pointed out, I'm glad you did that Google search, because I sure enough didn't. But the way you dissect it, breaking down between the conflict, or who gave you the identity to what man or what you feel
right
you need to become.
It's in opposition to it's in the very definition.
Yeah.
And so that's why I want to use it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, let's use what is being used. Okay, let's go to where they go. And I'm sure we'll do this even beyond just a regular basic research, when we start to get into some of these scholarly, works, and and we always want to be fair and look at both sides. Okay. I'm sure people can tell right now that we disagree with, the whole gender identity. I believe there are two genders, male and female. Scripture points that out very clearly. But people, tend to try to get away from God and the scriptures and things of that nature. And I think one of the major issues we have with this, and I'm glad you went the spiritual route, because this is, basically all the topics that we talk about, we're going to point back to spiritual warfare. Yeah. Because that's essentially what it is.
That's what it is, yeah.
But again, people have to come to grips with the fact that, hey, listen, there is something bigger at play here than just how you feel.
Yeah.
And the many discussions that I've had with, the whole LGBTQ, and I don't know the rest of it, because I think there's some more letters assigned to it now. And, and I lump this into it.
Yeah.
And of course, people who are of that persuasion, they like to point out all of the distinctions and things of that nature. It doesn't matter which one we deal with. At some point, you're going to have to go back to whether or not you believe God. Do you believe in God? Because none of us have any control over the sex that we were assigned at birth. None of us have any control of that. Somebody does, though. And that's what we have to deal with. Yeah. Somebody does. And so even if you don't believe in God, if you profess not to believe in the Bible, you profess not to believe in God, you have to believe in something, because you didn't choose your sex at birth. And that's why there's such a big, huge push with this whole gender thing, right? And I started researching a little bit more, wondering, why was this, because I think I asked you earlier, like, where did this come from? 10, 15, 20 years ago, gender wasn't really an issue, right? So I actually did, and let me look this up, because I'm not, you know me, I need to find it.
But while you're looking that up, and even our feelings, our feelings could lead us astray.
Absolutely.
The way we feel about a certain thing could lead us astray. Like, I could tell you that I feel like a baby. I could tell you that I feel like a dog, so let me start barking.